Hey, good morning, Dominic. This is going to be a quick demo video for you for your Gen 1 Dennis Lukinov Creepy Uncle. And then we also have a switch fix for a Parks 2.0 Graflex that you got from me a long time ago. So let's go take a look at these over my desk. Hey, good morning, Dominic. Let's go over your Creepy Uncle real quick. So this is a Gen 1 Creepy Uncle. You've had this for a couple years. I noticed you said in my post the other day, one of the major differences I think that you could see in the Gen 1 between the Gen 2. I think the Gen 2 has a little bit of a bigger ID in the grenade section, but it's this pommel as well. The Gen 1 has a fixed pommel, so your tri-ring stays clocked where it's supposed to be, where I think the Gen 2, you actually, when you loosen this, you can clock this how you want. All right, but this is a 2-button setup. So your front switch here is going to be power. Your back will be auxiliary. You're running the K-Sith LS6 Luke sound font, which I think is amazing. So, and it goes perfect with this saber, so that's why I decided to put in it. All right, you've got a shadow foil props lit PCB, which is very cool. We'll light that up here in a second. To get to your battery compartment, you want to just unscrew your grenade section. All right, this is how I set the chassis up. You've got a blade side PCB in there that doesn't come out. This is your battery compartment. Now this is a very thin a piece of chassis right here. I believe the ID on this is 0.88 inches and a battery is about 0.75 or so. So not a whole lot of room to play with. That's why I had to have an exposed wire tray in here. But I did cover it up with some heat shrink so it wasn't an eyesore. All right, you're running a 7-pin PCB right here. You can see your spring down in there. That's the negative side of your battery. So
I'll never turn to the dark side.
Clip your battery in like that. Screw in your grenade section. As you can see, your LEDs are going. If we turn this light off, it's a little bit easier to see, but this is the cave scene until we turn it on. Now I've got that green light pulsing and the red one staying on. All right, you can see your shadow foil props PCB all lit up there. This guy is super loud. And then you've got twist off. You had asked me the other day, I've got a Graflex that I'm redoing for you, but I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. You had asked if those took the same size blade. I mistakenly said yes because I thought the Graflex was a 1-inch, but it's a 7/8. So what I did, I just did like a quick and dirty trick for you so you don't have to buy a brand new blade. I took a piece of 1-inch thin-walled blade material and I cut it down to this. All right, this is a little trick. Some people know, some people don't, but this is basically an adapter for a 7/8 inch blade. All right, so this particular saber takes a 1-inch blade. You can take this adapter, slide it in, push it down all the way. I left the lip a little bit higher so it would be easier to grab, to pull out in case you ever couldn't do it with your fingers. I have been able to every time except for right now, but that's okay. But you push that in there. All right, and then you can take a 7/8 inch blade and you can push it in there as well. So we'll take that blade, push it in there all the way. Now it essentially holds a 7/8 inch blade. Lights it up just fine. You can lock it down right here, although it's a pretty tight fit without it, just depending on how hard you want to swing it. That's your blade retention. All right, that's another thing. We'll twist it off. That's another thing on the Gen 2. The Gen 2 doesn't have an exposed blade retention. This is actually a separate piece, so you would screw this down and exposes your blade retention. But no big deal right there. Power. Auxiliary back here. That's blaster bolt deflex. Blade lockup is holding down the auxiliary and hitting the saber. And it will stay like that until you let go of it. You'll see the animations in your blade for the blade lockup. It's a little bit hard for me to show it over the desk like this, but depending on how you move the saber up and down, you'll see that lockup on your blade. All right, to play your soundtrack, do a long press on the power. All right, then do another long press to turn it off, just like that. All right, and then when we want to break it down, we'll just pull this out, and the blade should take the adapter out with it. You see it on the tip of your blade, and just pull it right off. So I'll make sure I send that with you. Just a way for you to not have to buy a brand new blade, so you have a blade for each saber. All right, so we'll put that off to the side. I'm gonna leave the battery in it for now. If you wanna leave your battery in it, this has a kill switch. So just come over here, take this off. This is a Smuggler's Outpost 28mm dark side speaker, so it sounds really good. And I'm also using the Smuggler's Outpost speaker PCB for this one. So of course this is in its own speaker pod. It comes out and it exposes a proffie. So you're running a proffie here, but I put the sound font on it already for you. But you've got access to your SD card, your micro USB, there's your speaker pogo pins, and your kill switch. So if we turn this on, we're not going to get any sound obviously because we don't have the speaker in, but you can see that it's on here. And if we come over here and we flip this switch, it kills power. So as you can see, everything's off now. Your blinkies are off no matter what we do. And that's how you kind of kill power, and you can leave your battery in there until it's time to charge. It's a little bit easier to just come over here, take this pommel off, and turn it on and off from there. All right, but when you do want to take your battery out, unscrew your grenade section, kind of just support it like this. You should be able to take your finger from the positive side here and just pop it out, just like that. All right, and that is basically your Luke Skywalker, Dennis Lukianov, creepy uncle. Now we are going to switch over and talk about your Graflex. Okay, let's talk about your Graflex, Dominic. First of all, thank you very much. This alone lets me know that you've been a customer of mine for a long time. This particular Graflex is one of the ones that I used to sell. Like I did about 60 of these guys before I ever touched a different saber. This happens to be one of those. And I was selling them off Etsy at first, and then I began my Facebook page. I believe I was selling them for a little while on there. And how I could tell that this was one of those was because, first of all, this is a Parks 2.0 kit. And then when I opened it up, you had just sent this to me with your creepy uncle to get a switch repair, which I did do. Okay. But when I opened it up, you had one of these guys. This is the first iteration of my chassis design. When I first got a printer, I was buying, previous to getting my printer, I was buying chassis off of Etsy. They looked similar to this, and that's kind of where I got the idea to do this. It was all in wide open board shelf. I'll put a few pictures up right now of the board that's in it. But it was a wide open board shelf. I wasn't sure how to make the battery compartment circular like the battery. So as you can see here, it is a rectangular shape. Both of the battery contacts are the same. So you went ahead and you put this sticker over here that told you that was the positive side. So that was cool. That 28mm pancake speaker that I just kind of glued in place. I mean, this is wild. So I hope you don't mind. You and I talked about it. I just told you when you had sent me a picture of this saying that you're going to send it in for a switch repair. I said, you know what? I'm going to totally revamp this for you for free. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take this guy and put it on my shelf just as a memory. So first chassis design there. It also had a TCSS blade connector. So you've got, your positive and negative. This is kind of what everybody was using back then before the lit ones came out. So of course I took this one out as well. I did leave your blade plug in here. You have a NeoPixel blade plug that I'll show you that works, but I also put a lit connector in here. So you have a Shadow Foil Props lit connector. In the future, if you want to use a different blade plug, you don't have to have a NeoPixel blade plug. All right, so let's open this guy back up. I did fix your switch, by the way. This is a 1-button setup. You just want to come over here and flip this. Unscrew the handle. All right, that handle comes off, and then here's your chassis now. So this just says Luke Skywalker here. I went through, I did put the clamp back on, but I went through and I cleaned up the top of the board. So I got all that stuff off the top of the board. I wired everything underneath, put this CFX back into the Saber since it's what you're familiar with. Easy access to your SD card. Just has a Smuggler's Outpost emblem here. Luke Skywalker here. Says Solo Sabers in here. This is something I got off my buddy Tim, so I just like doing this. It keeps it out of the way. You have a spring connector in there, so that is the negative side of your battery. That's how you put your battery in. It will fit through here, which I'll show you here in a sec. Well, actually, let me show you right now. So still a Keep Power 18650. We'll put the negative side in first.
I know everything I need to know about you.
Clip it down. It stays in there nice and tough. One of the major differences that you'll notice when this hilt is all put together is the sound quality. So instead of a 28mm pancake speaker, I gave you a 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Dark Side speaker, heavy on the bass. There's your NeoPixel blade plug shining, so you're good there. Hold it down and turn it off. You will notice a significant sound improvement. All right, so I hope that you like the way that that came out. This is printed in gray carbon fiber, so a little bit different from this guy. The battery tray is round, same shape as the battery. It fits in there. No wires this time. You'll have absolutely 0 wires showing how it should be. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll put the handle back on this guy. You just tighten it all the way down. You'll have this grip align with your clamp card. Go ahead and tighten it down by doing that. This is your blade retention, so we'll loosen this up. We'll take your NeoPixel blade plug out. All right, you can just use a hollow blade plug from now on if you like, but of course this one still works as we just saw. And that is your Shadow Foil Props lit PCB. So it has LEDs on the PCB now. This, of course, is made for the 7/8 inch blade. So we'll just squeeze these bunny ears a little bit, put this guy in, make sure it's against the pins, come over here and lock down our blade retention. And we're off to the races. So blaster bolts is the same as before, just tapping. Blade lockup is holding it down and hitting the saber. Right? We'll hold this down when the saber's off.
Sound bank selection.
I'm never touching that thing again.
General Mundy, reporting for duty. Hero.
Audio player.
SD card. System men. Exit menu.
Stand calm. The Force is with you, young Skywalker.
If you like this one, we'll hold the button down.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Very solid. Loosen this guy up, pinch the bunny ears, take our blade out, put your blade plug back in. I made sure to put that NeoPixel connector exactly to where when you push your blade plug down and level it out with the top of your emitter and you lock down your blade retention, it fires up your blade plug, all right? So again, we'll take the handle off. You will need a tool to take this battery out because I made sure it was nice and tight in the battery compartment, which it was not very tight before. I'm using the back of my pair of tweezers for this particular one and just pop out the battery like that. And you're good to go, all right? And then just put your handle back on for safekeeping. And that should be all you need. So that is basically your Graflex Parks 2.0 along with your creepy uncle. Let me know if you have any questions and I will get these out in the mail to you by tomorrow. Thanks, man.